listening to the Blue Jay Breakdown.
Hey everyone, welcome back for the men's side of Blue Jay Breakdown. But first, before we get to Blue Jay Breakdown with Jacob Padilla and Mike Sautter here, I want to tell you about the Omaha Supernovas. Did you know, hey Jacob, did you know that there's a professional volleyball team in Omaha?
I do.
You do. You can find tickets at supernovas.com, regular season and single match tickets at supernovas.com. All right, Creighton had a pretty good week, Jacob.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Took care of business, picked up 2 huge
At
wins.
Butler and smacked them too. Like, even though they blew a 20-point lead and ended up winning by 22. But
42-point turnaround from what they gave up the first time against Butler to what they gave up the second time.
Right.
And I think coming out of that game, Craig McDermott and the Jays, there were definitely some things they saw. They're like, okay, we can do and need to do this better. But I think they also felt pretty good about their defense still. Mm-hmm. And like Butler just hit some ridiculous shots like we talked about. Butler did not hit those same shots nearly at the same rate in round 2. And Creighton won that thing handily. Just killed them. They were down 1 at halftime and then just opened up just crazy run in the second half. They outscored them 45-22. Just kind of snatched their souls and like, all right, we're done here. It was really impressive performance from Creighton, especially on the road, to pull off something like this. And Baylor Shireman was a star.
Yeah.
27 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 of 5 from 3. He was unbelievable there. Had 16 in the second half. Was the one that kind of put them on his back early in the half and sparked things. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner got going as Shireman and other guys started hitting some shots. It opened up some opportunities for Kalkbrenner, who also hit 3 threes.
Yeah.
It was
3 of just the 8. Creighton was only 8 of 25 from 3, 32%, which is not very good. So them winning by that much while not shooting from distance that well is a very positive sign.
Yeah. And then Stephen Ashwood, Trey Alexander did not shoot the ball well from 3 particularly, but 27 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists, just 3 turnovers combined between the two of them. So it was pretty complete performance from that starting that big 4 there that Ashworth has continued to kind of pick up his play down the stretch here and has really settled in and become a key part.
Fantastic.
100%. 8 assists in this one. And then I think
for as bad as everyone said he was at the beginning of the year, he's the opposite of that right now.
It just took some time to settle in, and now he knows exactly what this team needs of him and how it can make an impact. And, I mean, again, defensively, Creighton held Butler's stars completely in check. They got 2 threes from their center, Jalen Thomas, who was 1 for 9 or 1 for 11 or something on the season going in to the game. Like, what they did in the first half, they were getting some shots from guys that aren't their main guys that, like, all right, you're fine. We'll live with that. And in the second half, they weren't able to sustain it while they continued to lock up the likes of Pierre Brooks and Jamil Telford, who lit them up. I think he had 26 in the first game, had 4 points on 2 of 12 shooting in this one. A lot of that goes to Baylor Shireman and then the team defense as a whole. And then DJ Davis had 12 points, but it took him 13 shots. And all those threes that he hit against Creighton's defense last time
didn't happen.
1 of 7 in this one.
Yeah.
So really impressive performance from Creighton, especially, again, with the way the first one went to come in and win this thing handily. Again, 22-point win on the road. Aren't a lot of teams that are doing that across college basketball. So they took care of business there and then set up the showdown in Omaha with number 1 UConn. And
it was very impressive.
Boy, did Creighton rise to the occasion.
Very impressive.
Yeah, Creighton going in 0-6 all time against the number 1 team in the country. UConn was unanimous number 1 in both the AP and the coaches poll. And they've been playing like the best team in the country. Everybody else has taken some questionable losses recently, including Purdue. But UConn had won 14 straight, which ties the record for longest Big East conference winning streak. Yeah. And Creighton beat them by 19. Just I mean, start to finish there. It got off to a rough start, actually. They 2 turnovers right away, gave up 2 offensive rebounds, fell behind 7-0, fell behind 11-3. And you're like, oh boy, here we go again. It looks like more of the first meeting between the two. And then they settled in, and then they started executing. And they just got open looks all night long. Went 14-28 from 3. They went 7 minutes in the first half without missing a shot. They made 9 straight shots at one point, and that's kind of when they turned the game around, took control. They went up into halftime, up 14, stretched it out up to 23 in the second half. UConn made a run and cut it down to 10, and then Creighton's defense locked back in and held them scoreless for almost 3 minutes to kind of salt the game away there. Kind of what I think.
Ashworth was great.
Yeah, he's 100% the key.
Defensively, he was really good.
Again, 100%. That's like he finished with a team high 20 points, hit 5 threes, most of those in the first half. That wasn't even
like.
Yeah, the shots he hit in the first half, that was like, all right, he got the crowd going. He got Creighton's momentum going, but Cam Spencer finished with 6 points on 8 shots. Only got off 2 3-point attempts, and that's because Ashworth was draped all over him, running around, chasing him off all kinds of screens. Spencer just was not comfortable the entire night, and Ashworth was the reason for that.
Yeah, and I mean, UConn only shot 3 of 16 from 3 in the game, 18%. That's terrible. Yeah.
Creighton 14-28, and that's
50%.
So the
50% on attempts more than 4 is pretty dang good.
So the 14-3, like that's some of that shot variance, and Creighton shot well. UConn didn't, but Creighton took 12 more threes. And I bet you judge their quality of threes. Creighton got higher, got better looks from 3 as well. And that is the defensive game plan. And that's what won them the game, because UConn, they scored 40 in the paint. They were efficient inside the arc for the most part. They started attacking the kind of the drop defense and getting Donovan Klingon some dump off opportunities, or Tristan Nunes hitting some tough shots. That's how they got back into the game. But with the lead they had, they just kind of ran out of time. And Creighton, we talked about before, like that's what this defense is designed to do. Like they make you take the shots that they don't think you can make enough of to beat them if Creighton is doing what they're supposed to on offense. And they certainly did what they were supposed to in this one. The stars were really good. Trey Alexander, 16 points, 4 assists, no turnovers.
Got in a little foul trouble, though. That was a little concerning.
And that was part of UConn's run. Yeah. We're subbed out there, but got back in there and finished it. Kalkbrenner, 15 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 4 blocks. Had a couple really impressive plays at the rim defensively.
Kalkbrenner played all 40 minutes, too. They needed him to.
All but 12 seconds. So Mac actually subbed him out at the 12:01 mark, and then around the under 12 timeout. So he's like, all right, we got a foul before the break, so let's get him in there, get him a quick breather. He ended up sitting for 3.5 minutes of real time.
That's good.
Ravi Lula actually timed it up there because he wanted to see, all right, how much rest will he actually get? And then I think Stephen Ashworth committed a foul like 12 seconds later and sent him back in after the timeout. But like that's good coaching right there, to steal him like 3.5, 4 minutes of actual rest without having to miss him on the court really at all. That's smart coaching, and really impressive performance there. The key though is guy that you've seen play a lot, Jason Green.
He's awesome.
Yeah, outside of Steven, I think Jason is probably the biggest story to come out of that.
Yeah, I mean, he played 16 minutes. That's a career high. 8 points is a career high. His threes were huge.
2 of 3 from 3 after coming in 0 for 2, and he did not hesitate on any of those attempts. Got to a spot, caught the ball, and let it fly.
This shows he's working on it.
That's exactly right. And he credited Derek Cutlog, assistant coach there. They put in a ton of work after every practice. Like, he's grabbing guys and running them through shooting games, shooting drills, getting game speed shots, all different kinds. Like, all right, these are the shots you're going to get here within our offense. And so that extra work after practice, because Jason coming out of high school, he had shooting potential, but it wasn't necessarily a strength of his. It's like, all right, you might be able to get there someday. It wasn't like he's got a burner
from 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think he's in the low 30s, mid 30s, his senior year there at Millard North. So it's something you could see. He had the potential to get there, but it wasn't there yet. Like, it was going to take some work for him to get there. So
also
here,
didn't get the ball that much in high school.
Senior year, as a redshirt freshman, in that moment against the number one team in the country, to step up and let those shots fly with no hesitation, knock him down. That, I think, tells you a lot about where he is.
Also provides
mentally.
Big step of confidence. Yeah. I mean, you said mentally, and that's where I was going with that. So, especially coming off the injury and kind of like, oh, I'm not playing. And yeah.
And against the Butler game, because of the matchups, he only played 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, so he made that little surge, played first 3 games in the rotation. You see a few plays here and there, and then he had the big one against Georgetown, but it's Georgetown. It's like, all right, what does that really mean? Then he doesn't play against Butler, really. 1-2 minute stint, and that's it. Doesn't play in the second half. And Max said, he texted him after the game. It's like, hey, you're going to get a chance to play in this one, and I think you're going to be able to shine. And shine did he. Yeah. He was ready for sure, stepped up to the plate, and that's the point. So you got 2 threes from Green, 2 threes from Farabello, 2 threes and a breakaway layup from Mason Miller. That's 20 points right there from the other guys that you got in a 19-point victory. That's
outside of the 4.
That's the difference between, all right, this is going to be down to the wire, anybody's game, and no, Creighton was in control of this throughout the second half there. So,
14-4 in bench points. It's big.
That's not a category that Creighton has won very much this season. So to do it again in the biggest game of the season, this was also Greg McDermott's 600th career win.
Yeah,
it's heck of a win to hit that milestone with. I think he's going to remember this one for a long time. You could see he was fired up out there. Creighton forced a timeout and early in the second half, I think, and he ran out there and like gave the old big fist pump out there on the court, letting the fans know, like, all right, you guys are really bringing it tonight, and I appreciate it. And the crowd was phenomenal. As good a crowd as I've seen there all season and in a long time. Like the student section came in, they were ready to go from the start. A whole lot of heckling for UConn there, a whole lot of cheering for Creighton. So just a fantastic atmosphere, and the Bluejays rose to the occasion. And so now they, with that, they climbed up to 11th in KenPom. Yeah. They're number 10 offense in the country, 23 defense. In the net, they see, that was another top 10 win. So they've climbed up to number 9 in the net as well. So we're looking at a 3 seed potential for Creighton now with that win if they continue to take care of business, as opposed to a couple weeks back, we're looking at 5-6 seed potentially after those back-to-back losses. Like, whoops, not a great spot. The resume lacking a little bit at the top there, and now you've taken a couple of losses against kind of bubble teams. Well, they've taken care of that. Yeah. Now you got another shiny win over number 1 there to put at the top of your resume. You've got, again, they've won 4 in a row now, and with 4 to play. They're sitting there at 11-5 in Big East play. They got their 20th win. So 9 straight years they've secured the top 10 win. 9 straight years they've won at least 20 games under Greg McDermott. What he's done with this program to elevate it, to get to this point now where they just continue to build on the success. And obviously there's kind of like some stumbles along the way. It's not just straight progression, but that's the more impressive. Like they continue to handle any kind of adversity that comes their way and bounce back from it and get better from it. And that's, I think, what this team has done all season long.
People got to feel like they don't want him to leave. There's no way. Like, if you feel that way, you're wrong.
Yep. No, I think he's, at this point, pretty strong claim for best coach in program history.
Also, just viewership-wise, 709,000 viewers for the UConn Creighton game, which
is on a
is
Tuesday night.
Yeah, the most watched Big East men's basketball game ever on Fox Sports 1 or FS1.
I missed that.
Yeah. Just happened. So.
And Creighton was a part of that. So, again, continuing to elevate the brand. People have taken notice of what Creighton basketball is, and that's a great thing for the program moving forward. So, just phenomenal job of taking advantage, rising to the occasion, and shining with the spotlight on the team now. So, 4 left to go. Playing on Sunday against St. John's. So that's the best. Like coming off this big win, you don't have a quick turnaround. You got time to really kind of appreciate the win, recognize what you've done, and then kind of settle back in and get back to work, get back to the grind. So you don't necessarily have to worry about a quick hangover, a quick turnaround.
At St. John's is different too.
Yeah.
But it's at the Garden, so it's a little, not as.
And it's a good time of year to be making a trip to the Garden
Yeah.
because you're going to be heading back there in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, St. John's is
big CBS game too. It's on the regular TV.
Yeah, St. John's is in a
Weird.
kind of a weird place right now.
They won last night, beat Georgetown though.
Yeah, and it was only by 5.
Yeah.
So like that's the equivalent to a loss to pretty much anybody else there. There's like 7-9 in conference play. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had lost 8 of 10 before that Georgetown win. And Creighton was the first. That loss in Omaha was the first of those losses. Yeah. Since then, they've been struggling, but that was a 1-point game for Creighton in Omaha. And that thing was a battle. We'll see. We've got Patino kind of going off on his players post game and kind of calling them out. Patino's going to Patino. He's one of a kind. But so hard to know what kind of effort you're going to get from St. John's in this game. But they've got some guys that can give Creighton problems. Joel Soriano is obviously a very large human being who crashes the glass hard. Dennis Jenkins can hit some tough shots there and is having a good season for them. So they've got some pieces. It's not going to be necessarily a walk in and just kind of roll over them type of game, unless they are at the point where they just completely quit. But
they might be. I don't know if Patino let him be that, but they might be.
Yeah, he's done this a long time. He's a pretty good coach, so I'm guessing we'll get a pretty spirited effort from them coming into this one, especially coming off of that Georgetown game. It's like, all right, guys, you barely beat Georgetown now. What do you think Creighton's going to do to you if you kind of bring the same level of effort? So guessing those guys will be ready to go. So Creighton will have to be as well. And but yeah, straight shaping up to be a chance for a really strong finish for Creighton here. Chance to rack up a couple more really good wins to add to the resume.
Yeah, see, Marquette, Villanova after St. John's is pretty good.
Yeah,
so pretty tough.
Pretty tough, but again, chances to add to that resume here and really kind of continue to climb up here. I think the UConn win changes a lot for Creighton and puts them in a really good situation here. So the key is grabbing the momentum and carrying it forward. No slip-ups. You have to continue to play, provide the same kind of effort that you did against the number 1 team against these last 4 opponents. And we will be back next week to recap that St. John's game and look ahead to the stretch run on the next episode of Blue Jay Breakdown.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.